volunteers from Barcelona traveled to a convent in western Ukraine where nuns are aiding refugees following the Russian invasion. As the missile attack on all of Ukraine surged to unprecedented levels following the bombing of the Kerch Bridge in Crimea, the nuns and the volunteers take a group of 36 refugees and families of soldiers fighting in the war on a 3-day journey across Europe to housing in Spain. Now, this is a true-life documentary, Sisters of Ukraine, and with us here is Mike Dorsey, who is the director of this. And I was telling you, I just think this looks so interesting, and this war is still going on. Doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, but the public interest is fading. It's just been going on for, gosh, it's about 3 years now. So
right.
What are you hoping that the Sisters of Ukraine will do to kind of renew interest in this?
Exactly that. I hope it'll renew interest and also shine a light on something that hasn't been covered much, which is all the lives behind the front lines. This is the biggest refugee crisis in Europe since World War II. Over 8 million Ukrainians have fled the country. Another 8 million are displaced within the country. It's just a massive challenge that needs to be dealt with.
Well, it's very true, and it's unbelievably tragic. I mean, you hear of just all the unnecessary deaths and things that have been going on. So what was it like to film there? It just seems so dangerous. And how were you able to safely document this and really tell the stories accurately?
Sure. Well, we were filming in Western Ukraine, and at that point in the war, it had quieted down in the Western Ukraine. All the fighting had moved to the east. So when we got in there the first day, you wouldn't really know immediately that there's a war happening other than seeing bunkers and checkpoints around. And our first day driving around this city, we saw police had blocked off a road, and we thought, oh no, what's happened? They were having a 5K race. That's kind of how back to trying to return to some normalcy in the western part of the country. What we didn't realize was that we knew that the Kerch Bridge had been bombed in Crimea literally the night before we drove in. And that was a big symbol of Russian pride, that bridge. It was a major, major story when that happened. And the Russians got very upset about that. And by the afternoon of that first day, we heard our first air raid sirens. All the Ukrainians have the app on their phone that shows the map of the country with every day what's under threat of attack. For the first time since the war started, all the regions in Ukraine were under threat. So everybody was panicking over this. It was unusual. And then the very next day, the whole country was under lockdown and a power plant was bombed near us. We had MiGs flying over us the entire time. So it wasn't, a little naive to think, but it wasn't quite what we had signed up for. But all of my crew, to their credit, I gave them an opportunity if they wanted to leave on a van, and I would come meet them at the border later. And they all said, no, we're staying. We want to cover this.
Yeah. I remember the bombing of that bridge. What was the time period that you were there?
That was October of 2022. So it was just 8 months into the war. And things were still very fresh when we were there.
So, and then when did you leave?
We were there in country for 4 days. We were originally supposed to be there for 3, but the bombing delayed their operation to get these Ukrainians out because everybody was locked down. They couldn't get to us. So we ended up staying an extra day in the country so the refugees could get to where we were. And then we went with them across Europe to Barcelona by road.
Now, when you were putting this together, shooting it, editing, I mean, what did you think what were you really trying to convey to the rest of the world about what was happening in Ukraine?
I want to show them what the lives are like there. We interviewed some people that had come from Eastern Ukraine to Western Ukraine. One of them was an old woman. She's in her 80s. She was from Kramatorsk, and early in the war, their train station was bombed by the Russians and it killed a bunch of people. She was there when it happened. She was trying to flee. And I just thought this could be my grandmother. She's in the twilight years of her life. She shouldn't be having to go through this. All of a sudden, she has to leave her home that she's lived in her entire life and go to a strange place to hope strangers will help her. That is the message that I want to get out to people is you can help. There's a lot of NGOs and nonprofit groups that are helping refugees. There's some in this country in the U.S. I have friends who have helped have Ukrainian families stay at their home while they got on their feet and got jobs and found a place to live. So that's the thing. Take action, reach out to NGOs that can help these people and do what you can because it's a huge, huge crisis.
Yeah. You captured Faith in Action. Is that the name of the group that was helping? Faith in Action?
No, they were called Accio Familiar. It was a Spanish name. It's in Barcelona. But that was the other thing that inspired me was watching Mother Christiana, who's kind of the star of the film. She's the head of this convent in Ukraine where we stayed. I had never been around people who've dedicated their entire lives to service. I hadn't seen that before. I did not grow up Catholic. I did not know any nuns. And literally from the moment they wake up in the morning till when they go to sleep at night, they're serving 7 days a week. They don't take a break.
Yeah.
It was really amazing. And she told me, she goes, look, I could have not gone a religious life. I could have married and had children, and I could have still volunteered, but I couldn't do it full time. I would have a husband and kids to take care of and all the family responsibilities. And she said, I wanted to do this all the time. So this is what I chose.
Amazing. Amazing. There are people like that in the world. And
Incredible.
Thank you for bringing those people to the public, because a lot of people don't realize like what they're doing. Where can people see the documentary?
So it comes out tomorrow, Friday. It'll be on Apple TV, Amazon, Google Play. It'll be on anywhere where you have pay-per-view on cable. It'll be pretty much anywhere where you can find a film. You'll be able to find it.
Okay. And it is called Sisters of Ukraine.
That's it.
I see your shirt. So it's a good reminder.
There it is. Yes.
Okay. So Mike, thank you. Thank you for doing the documentary. Thank you for bringing it to the public. I'm looking forward to watching it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.